It's time for the Maddawg Show, coming to you from the heart of the Bulldog Nation. The Maddawg Show is proudly sponsored by Alex Smith Garden Design, Griffin Lumber and Hardware, The Sanford Company, Sellers Construction, Bib Distributing, Butler Automotive, Pelicano Construction, The Dog Bone, Go Clean Co., Bacon Monogramming, Fincher's Barbecue, Bulldog Illustrated, Branford Chiropractic, Wathall Oil, and now here he is, the Maddawg.
Welcome back to a very special edition of the Maddawg Show. We have UGA legend Tim Worley. Welcome back, Tim.
What do you say, Maddawg?
Man, I'm just happy to be here. We've got Bert from the Dog Bone. What's up, Bert?
What's up, Maddawg? New SEC back-to-back champion.
Hey, I told Tim, I said, well, I'm giving Tim the credit. Tim joined the Maddawg Show. We started stacking up SEC championships.
For real.
It's all Tim. We also welcome back a special guest who we formed an unlikely friendship with, but it's a very timely visit due to everything going on with Notre Dame, and that is Lou Holtz. Welcome back, Lou.
Well, thank you, Maddawg. It's good to be here with you this evening. Here every year, I look forward to this. It gets up in age, but I may be limited physically, but mentally, I'm still here.
Well, Coach, let's just get right to it. Do you feel that Notre Dame should have made the playoffs?
Yes, I believe Notre Dame should have made the playoffs. I'm sure they stumbled early in the season. They lost by 3 points to Miami. First game of the season. It counts for some teams, apparently doesn't count for others. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But then they lost by 1 point to who people thought was the best team in the SEC the whole year. Lost by 1 point to them. Of course, that wasn't home. Then they rattled off 10 straight wins. Offense looked like the best offense in the nation. I think they should have been in.
What do you say to those people who say, Notre Dame's schedule was stacked with teams that had bad losing records? I believe there are 5 teams on Notre Dame's schedule that had 8 losses. What would you say to them?
Well, we can only play who's on the schedule. I mean, we're not in a conference because we think we're better than everyone else. So we have to scour the earth for who's going to play us. And it appears that I can't help to produce terrible each and every year. We destroyed them. Boston College had Bill O'Brien up there. I thought Billy O.B. was going to have something. They were terrible. Of course, your old coach from Syracuse, he's up there. We beat the pants off them 70-7. I think it was the hottest offense in the nation. I think it should have been in the big playoff.
Well, you make some good points. I think what's got everybody upset is the fact that it's the way that Notre Dame handled being left out. Like in the case of the University of Georgia, we were treated far worse in 2023 when we had won 2 national championships, won 29 straight games, had been number 1 for more weeks than I can count. We actually played in a conference championship game, lost to a team by 3 points off a bad call, and we were left out. They dropped us from 1 to 6. And what did we do? We did not pout. We went to the Orange Bowl and beat the brakes off of FSU 63-3 with every single one of our draftable players in the game. Conversely, Notre Dame's just done the opposite. They didn't get in the playoffs. What do you think about them declining their bowl bid?
Well, I'm disappointed in Coach Freeman and Pete Maddawg. No relation to Kirk Maddawg, was the journeyman baseball player from the 70s and 80s. Of course, he played for the Padres, and I think he won the 1975 bubblegum blowing championship of the major league. There's an old black and white baseball card. Actually had a feud with Tommy Lasorda. Tommy Lasorda said he was such a bad hitter. If he was going to pitch against him, he'd send a limousine to pick him up because Kurt Maddawg couldn't hit water if he fell out of a damn rowboat. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I think if the bowl wasn't named the Pop-Tarts Bowl or something silly like that, maybe Notre Dame would be accepting of the bowl. I think it's just too weird of a name for them. But if I was the coach, we would be playing in that bowl game. It's good for the players, but for the up-and-coming players, it's dangerous. Get one more game. Pop-Tart Bowl, it's a little too fruity for them, I guess. But I'd have played in it myself.
I could see how going from the playoffs to the Pop-Tart Bowl would be quite a psychological letdown. Who would they have played in the Pop-Tart Bowl? Do you know?
I think they'd be playing BYU.
BYU, the Consolation Bowl.
Apparently, Georgia Tech's not too good for it because they're going to take our place down there. But I think they're missing out on 15 good practices, and we'd like to see them play. And if they was called the Citrus Bowl or if it was something like that, may have done it. But it just seems a little too goofy for Bavacqua, I guess. I'd like to hear from Marcus Freeman. He's a good man. He write him letters all the time. He's always seems like he's brought the program up where it needs to be. Hadn't heard from him. I don't know what he's thinking. I'd like to see his opinion.
It feels like it wasn't his decision and that came from above. I can't see a guy like that not wanting to have all those extra practices with his guys. I mean, having the season end like that, I mean, that's got to just rip the hearts out of those players. And I feel bad for him. And I look at Freeman and I go, is this a guy who's going to get snapped up by a pro team? Is this a rising star who says, you know what? I don't need this crap. I don't need somebody picking who goes in the playoff, whether I go or not. I want what happens on the field to determine that, and him going pro. I guess that's kind of a sidebar. But who do you think should have replaced Notre Dame in the playoff field? Which team?
Well, I think you got to look at the team you played on Saturday. The Alabama Crimson Tide, I think maybe Notre Dame should have their spot. I mean, I've been around football for 70 years. Started off coaching under Woody Hayes. I've documented on this for won 2 national championships with Woody, Ohio State Buckeyes. Went on for stops with William and Barrett. Coached the New York Jets down at NC State. Went out to Arkansas. Back. Then I ended up at Notre Dame where I wasn't the best coach they've ever been. Asked Father Lay. He'll tell you I was better than Duke Rockney, but I'm not going to get into that sort of thing. But then ended up in South Carolina where I turned in a busload of losers into a pretty darn good football team. Probably gave you nightmares. Little Ryan Brook. Anyway, I've never in all my years seen a team lose a football game at all. Much less by 21 points, have negative 3 yards rushing, and stay the same in the rankings. It's logic.
I think you've made a great point, and I think I saw a stat where Alabama's the only team in that position to ever lose a game. Forget about how they lost, which was terrible, but to lose a game, period, and not move back in the rankings. Am I right on that, Bert?
Yes, you're right. Ohio State. So I sent you that list. I guess that was of this decade, and Ohio State moved back 1, obviously, but Alabama is the first team to not move after a loss on conference championship weekend.
And to your point, Coach, I was thinking exactly like you. I was thinking, okay, they're going to move Alabama out altogether, and they're going to move in both Miami and Notre Dame. That would have seemed to have made the most sense. They know at the beginning of the season Notre Dame's not going to have a conference championship, right? So that's got to be taken into consideration the entire time and not counted against them. And for whatever reason, they chose to just make an example out of Notre Dame, which is kind of shocking considering all the preferential treatment you guys get over the years. What would you like to say about the preferential treatment that Notre Dame always seems to get?
Well, it does seem like over the years we probably have been the benefit here and there of some things. Made a lot of people angry, not Catholics probably, but the rest of you people probably aren't very happy with it. But it seems like in this new age that the world doesn't care about the Catholics anymore. Looks like they've shifted it down to Tuscaloosa. Looks like they're getting the benefits we used to. We're have pretty much sour grapes.
That's a great point you make about Protestants. Seems like that the Protestants are getting preferential treatment over the Catholics and the Mormons. Look at BYU.
the funny thing is that we're supposed to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl at BYU, which was the so-called buffer team. Didn't understand I don't understand the logic of the buffer team. What? So BYU lost, so that's the reason we slipped with Miami. I understand Miami tried to lobby for themselves. ACC were half in, half we 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But I don't understand the buffer team. Could you explain that? I don't understand.
I can explain that because you look at the system that we have and you look at a team like Notre Dame or even a team like Vanderbilt or a team like Texas, and the fact that we have a system that will put in place James Madison and Tulane into the playoffs over teams like that makes absolutely no sense. No sense whatsoever, and I think that's going to lead to them expanding to a 16-team playoff. That, and along with some of the concessions that the ACC and Sankey's making with the SEC to go to a 9-game conference schedule, will lead to 16 teams, in addition to something I'd like to talk with you about that came out, which was the Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU, that was issued to Notre Dame that next year all they have to do is get into the top 12 and they will be guaranteed a playoff spot, which also seems preferential. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think that's probably a just rule based on what they did to us this year. So I'm going to take it for 1 year because they expand to 16.
I'm hoping they go to 16 next year, and I'm hoping that, you know, the handwriting on the wall is the fact that they were supposed to make that decision in the beginning of December. They kicked the can down the road to after the national championship game. So everything's pretty much teed up to do it other than the Big Ten and the SEC deciding the format. Is it going to be, you know, each conference gets 4 guarantees, and then you got an ACC, you got a Big 12, and then the rest is at large? That would make the most sense to me. I mean, you cannot guarantee bids to a group of 5 conferences. That just makes 0 sense.
Well, I tell you, Maddawg, at 88 years old, I'm just sitting here watching Rawhide, James Garner. That seems like almost like calculus to me, what you're just talking about. I don't understand any of it. I just sit here and do my crosswords. So whatever they say the teams are going to be, I'm just glad that Notre Dame's locked down a spot next year if they play their fairly weak schedule and get the top 12. Well, that's going to push out somebody probably deserving. But
You said crosswords. Do you play Sudoku?
no, that's new age. I'm not losing.
And you said you were watching, was it Rawhide with James Garner?
Yeah, Rawhide, yeah. Still 50s Western. It's something I like to watch every night before I go to bed.
Now, do you like to stream any of the newer shows that are out there?
No.
I have a question.
Yes, please. Let's open up the floor to questions.
Yeah. So, Lou, I was reading today that there was a recent book that was written on one of your mentors, Frank Leahy, by none other than Ivan Maisel. I'm sure all of y'all are familiar with Ivan Maisel. What I did not know is he is actually a part of the college football playoff selection committee. For some reason, I just thought that was made up of ADs and administrators at schools, but it's not. Anyway, he wrote a book about Frank Leahy and was invited to sign at a bookstore tomorrow. And Notre Dame told him, since he's on the college football committee that voted them out, that he's not invited anymore. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's right. If I happen to catch Ivan Maisel on the streets, I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind, maybe a little right cross. I totally understand Notre Dame just telling Ivan to get lost. He's making money, writing stories about me. Then he treats Notre Dame like this. This is ridiculous. So I'm in full support of Notre Dame. Take his book and go home.
Okay.
Am I the only one that wishes we had subtitles right now? exactly some of these comments
I'll
are.
try to speak more clearly.
Yeah, I got that. He's there's no love lost between Lou and Ivan Maisel. That's for sure. Right, Lou.
That's correct, especially after this last stunt he pulled down, sitting with that stupid committee and that Eurosec Russian fella running the show. I think, yeah, he deserves to be run off campus. So don't let him come to bookstore sign any of those books.
Tim, your career overlapped with Coach Holtz, and I was wondering if you had any questions you might like to ask him or statements to make.
Well, yeah, I came along. Right behind me was guys like Tony Rice, Coach Lou. You coached Tony Rice, Chris Zorich. We were teammates in Chicago, and a couple more players uh, that some great players that you coach. Um, my question is, what was it like uh, when the Hurricanes came into South Bend back in the day when you had the convicts versus the Catholics?
Of course, I didn't like the way I told them not to make the T-shirt. I didn't like the way they were disparaging Miami as convicts, but it was a heck of a game. Love it kind of boosted my reputation, helped me out. Really, to tell you the truth, Jimmy Johnson and them coming in there with their brashness, and then of course you had the All-American, never broke a rule in their lives. Our clean boys that we had against those guys who seemed like they were on the edge there. So it was a great rivalry. I loved it, and would look better with you wearing one of those gold helmets running football. I heard they called you Seattle Slew.
Yeah, that was my nickname. I tell you, that was some great football back in the day, though. That was some awesome. I actually had an opportunity, Coach, to go to three Notre Dame games in South Bend when I played for the Bears. I watched them play against SC, and I watched them play against West Virginia, and I watched them play against Navy back in the day, and it was a great experience there on the campus. It was totally different but beautiful.
Well, there's nothing like it. You got touchdown Jesus, and fans are so nice and accommodating now. And I think many of you've probably been up there when Georgia played them a couple of years ago. It's the greatest place to watch football in the United States of America, and it just a wonderful place. I'm going to be buried there, as a matter of fact.
Awesome, Coach.
Coach, it sounds like the news of the day is the Michigan head coaching job is back open. They've named an interim coach, none other than Biff Pocoroba. Interesting call there. He'll be coaching Wink Martindale, who I guess will stay on as defensive coordinator. But with that job opening up, would you be interested if they gave you a call about possibly taking that coaching job?
Well, first of all, what is in the water in the state of Michigan? You got the thing going at Michigan State that happened. Yeah, you got this one. You had the Dr. Larry Nassar. What's going on up there? Something's wrong. You need to straighten all that out. But no, I don't think so. Like I said, at 88 years old, I'm mentally pretty good, but physically, I just don't think I could stand out there and coach those boys, and many of them sweet boys. But we don't care much for Michigan, and I wouldn't be interested in coaching those fellas. I think all the people at Notre Dame would probably try to do harm to old sweet Lou here.
Coach, Notre Dame does have something riding on the line this weekend, and that's the Heisman Trophy. And Jeremiah Love is the only running back that will be represented there. He's obviously representing Notre Dame. What do you think about his chances for taking home the Heisman?
I don't think Jeremiah Love has a chance. I think
Really?
Fernando Mendoza's going to win the Heisman. The last 10 out of 12 people who've won Walter Camp Award have won. He won it earlier last night or something on one of those stupid shows, and so I think Fernando's going to win the Heisman, and Jeremiah's a great running back. I don't think he's going to win it. If Fernando doesn't win it, I think it's going to be a Diego Pavia.
Well, Diego Pavia definitely of the nominees had the competed against the highest level of competition by competing in the SEC. I do think that probably Jeremiah Love is the best athlete.
I would agree, but it's just all about flash, and Fernando's got the great story. Indiana, of course, where's Indiana? It used to be coached by Lee Corso. Been terrible for years and years and years and years. Now they say pretty good. Got something going with Sig Daddy, so I think the Bears going to go that way.
What do you think about Diego Pavia repeatedly striking the Heisman pose on the field and even coordinating it with his entire offensive line? A lot of people would say that was showboating. I wanted to get your opinion on it.
Just look where it came from. His father, his brother, they get arrested all over the country, acting crazy in the stands. His mother goes out on dates with social media giants. He's all over the place in hot pants, walking around. He's doing this and that. The whole thing is a joke. It's a Hollywood joke, and I don't like it personally.
Tell us about the checkered background of his brother and his father. I didn't know anything about that.
His brother's been arrested in 2 different stadiums this year. His father was arrested with him one time. I think they had some trouble in Knoxville. I think they ended up in Knox County. They were doing something crazy in the stadium, causing trouble. Those Pavias, they're crazy people.
Now, Pavia.
As I we see the final teams that we have in the playoffs now. But me personally, even before Alabama, I would have gave Vanderbilt a shot for one of those slots, because Vanderbilt to me is in the past couple of years the most improved team in the SEC, and I felt like they deserve a shot, especially with the quarterback that they have. So, what do you think?
I agree. Nobody wants to play Vanderbilt, especially in Music City. I don't know where they'd be playing in the playoffs, but I heard I've talked to many Georgia fans who were glad they didn't have to go to Nashville and take on that team. And that's a very good football team. Clark Lee got to do. Of course, he's got a new contract now. It looks like he's flipped Jared Curtis. He won it. Apparently, he won a state championship last week, 59-7. He's playing a little YMCA team. I got there at the tail end of that myself. I viewed a little bit of that as a joke. But anyway, I wish Jared and Clark just the best of luck. Hope they have fun in Athens next year.
What are your thoughts? Go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say, hey, Coach, one more thing. I want to bring it back to the Notre Dame family. I heard today that Coach Freeman is being scouted and may come up for the head coaching job for the Giants. Did you guys hear that?
I read the same thing earlier. So Young's and James better watch out. Probably going to have to get out the checkbook, keep Marcus, but he's a great guy, and I think they should. But you never know if he has a problem with Bavakwa. Maybe he's going to fly the coop, take himself to the Big Apple.
Speaking of open up the checkbook, what do you think about the new day and age we live in, where players can command all of this money before they've even set foot on the football field? Jared Curtis is a great example. He's committed to Georgia. Vanderbilt got out their checkbook. Now he's, I think, getting paid $4 million before he even sets foot on campus. That goes against everything that you were about back in the day. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I saw a little internet thing with the top 25 NIL players. According to how much money they make, and it doesn't seem like too many of them doing much. There was a bunch up from South Carolina on there. There was DJ Lagway. I saw Lambeau Beck was number 2. Of course, Arch Manning sitting at $6 billion. He's sitting at home. We got the whole thing was the Arizona State quarterback who's actually skipped the town on them. So I think I like the way Kirby Smart's been doing, trying to not be the highest payer, but kind of teaching the players the right way to get to the NFL where it makes you real money.
Well put. Well, Coach, I want you to stay on with us. I think Bert might have some statistics that he wants to share with us. Bert?
I do. We covered a lot of ground on the kind of the yards per play and efficiency and all that. Not a lot changed in the playoffs, but I did want to point out a few Georgia stats as we wrap up regular season, move into the playoffs. For the season, Georgia is ranked number 1 nationally in 4th down conversions, converting 13 of 17 attempts for the year for 76% 4th down conversion average. Yeah, it makes you. Yeah, Kirby talked about earlier in this year about how with the parity between SEC schools, how we really have to be more aggressive in game than we used to be. And not only are we more aggressive, but we're converting those aggressive opportunities as well.
Clearly, and you started to see maybe a little bit of that last year in that Alabama game where I think we set the record for most 4th down conversions in a game. It was unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, it's almost like you kind of move to a Kiffin model and just look at the analytics. I mean, you don't get crazy with it and go for it on 4th and 1 on your 9 like Kiffin will do, but you definitely got to look at every opportunity you got.
Yep. So looking at 4th down conversions, let's flip back to 3rd down conversions and how different the game was on Saturday versus that game in September. So 3rd down conversions on Saturday, we held Alabama was 13 of 20 in September in Athens. It just felt like we could not get them off the field. And I think most of it was due to that dun, dun, dun music that we would play right before they would run every 3rd down. It seemed like that was a perfect opportunity and a signal to Alabama that, yes, you can convert this 3rd down. In the Mercedes Dome, they don't play that music, and it turned around to where Alabama only converted 4 out of 17 3rd and 4th down conversions in the SEC championship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of reminds. I don't know if you remember the old Three Stooges episode where they had Curly as the boxer. Bo and Larry had Curly as the boxer, and he'd be getting beat up, he'd getting smashed, and then they'd play Pop Goes the Weasel. He'd go crazy. He'd beat the hell out of the guy. It's the same kind of thing. When Alabama heard the gun, they beat the hell out of him. Same thing.
Yeah.
Great analogy.
I remember that episode.
It in the SEC championship, our defense just feels a whole lot different than it did watching that defense in Athens against Alabama too. Like, our guys know where to be. They're flying after the ball. The young guys that we have on defense that we knew were talented, but they were just young. I mean, so many young 5-stars that Kirby talked about after the game, how he feels like, some of these freshmen now feel like sophomores because they've been there long enough and they know the system, but it just feels like we're flying around the ball a lot more than we were earlier in the year. The stats back it up too. I think since the Florida game on defense, we're giving up about 4.38 yards per play. To put that in perspective, the 2021 defense, which is kind of the benchmark, which we would compare all Georgia defenses by, gave up about 4 yards per play. So we're getting down in that elite range where that 21 defense was. So yeah, we're peaking at the right time on defense for sure.
And you're still seeing players that I've got to look up, like Dinkins, number 27. I was like, who is this number 27? I didn't realize that Aguero had a wrist and wasn't even playing. And I mean, Dinkins was flying all over the field, and he's got some attitude, man. He plays with an
Just get ready to
edge.
say that, Maddawg. That kid had an attitude, man. I like that.
Yep. Hey, he's from Warner Robins.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
And then I think C.J. Wiley played a lot.
he did. Yeah, C.J. Wiley got to play. Talon got in there. He didn't get a catch, but he got in there. So, yeah, we're man, these young guys that we're developing, and you know, it's a tribute to our program where we sell them on staying with the program. You're going to get to play. Just bide your time. I mean, look at Ellis Robinson, for example. You know, that guy could have easily transferred on us, and we would have lost who's turned out to be one of the all-star cornerbacks in college football just because it took him a little bit longer to develop into what he is now.
And I ran into Elias Williams before the game. He was with his brother and with a friend, and I was just congratulating him on a great year. And I was like, man, I mean, you're seeing the field in this very, very crowded tight end room, and it's just a harbinger of good things to come. And then his brother goes, wait till you see him out there with Barber. And I was like, yeah, that'll be great next year. And then right after that, Kirby starts talking about Colby Young could probably come back, which would be a medical miracle. And they're talking about Barber coming back, who had one of the most grotesque injuries I've seen since Lewis Seen broke his leg in the Florida game. It's like, what are these guys doing in the training room? They're just performing absolute miracles in there. I mean, Colby Young coming back, I never even in my wildest dreams thought that was possible. He said probably not for the Sugar Bowl, but acted like, you know, it's totally within the realm of possibility for the semis.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Man, if we could get those two back for the semifinals, that would be really amazing. Yeah, you thought when Colby Young got hurt, they were like, "Oh, he's done for the year. There's no way he's coming back." And yeah, I mean, if Kirby's mentioning that he's coming back, then it's probably a good chance that he's going to be back at some point, as long as we matriculate through the playoffs.
And Tim, you know this. I mean, back in the day when you got injured, I think I've heard you say this before. You just felt like you were separated from the team, right?
Yeah.
And Colby Young has been like they've kind of, I think, asked him to step up. Like, hey man, you know, you're a leader on this team. You got to stay involved. And he's been one of those guys that they still interview him, and you see him on the sidelines getting everybody pumped up. Yeah. And man, that would just be great after all he's been through. I mean, that guy's been through some stuff that we all know, and it was not stuff that, you know, was anything that should have happened. Right? He was just a victim of circumstance. Did not truly do anything wrong. Man, it'd be great for him to get his moment.
Well, you know, with all the stuff they have in place now, you know, back in the day, psychologically, when you got hurt and you were going to be out for a long time, it really messed with your head because, like I said, you hit it right on the head. You don't feel like you're part of the team, and this is what we talked about, where that family comes in, the camaraderie, and the players really knowing each other, but not just the players, the coaches knowing the players too. They keep those guys, you know, close. You know, look at Broderick, the running back. You know, he come back off that injury, you know, turf toe, because he could have said, "Hey, I'm gonna jump in the transfer portal," but he stuck it out and he scored the first touchdown on Saturday. So I think it's great that they go out of their way to keep the guys that are injured, you know, involved in some kind of shape or fashion, and because it really helps them mentally, man. You know,
that Broderick play, man, it was just perfectly timed, perfectly designed, and perfectly executed. If you watch him He looks like he's a fullback, headed straight into the line, stops, cuts right, and it was just beautiful. And you know that he was nowhere on a scouting report. He had been just chalked up as this guy's done. We ain't got to think about him. Forget about number 0. And, man, not only did he score that touchdown, he looked like he had slimmed down.
Man, you reading my mind, man. That's twice. I
Yeah,
was going to say the same thing. Yeah, he did look a lot slimmer. So,
yeah,
great.
yeah. It was,
And credit to Bobo there too, because Alabama's defense, if they're looking at our backfield, they're not thinking Roderick Robinson's getting the ball. You know, they're thinking that guy's in there filling space. Maybe he'll block, but they certainly weren't thinking that. Back to our 4th down conversion percentage. We've got so many different options and so many weapons to get a yard or two, including our quarterback running the ball. We got a 240-pound fullback / tailback. We got guys on the outside that can make guys miss. There's just so many ways we can get a yard or two when we need to.
If you look at that play, guys, the slip that he had, it actually worked out for him because it looked like he almost fell on the ground. And he hesitated, and then he just eased out into the end zone. It was wide open.
Yeah, like he ducked down, like he was hiding behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah. Has anybody seen that SEC Inside on the SEC Championship? The SEC Network does it every week. It's a great show where it's kind of behind the scenes.
yeah.
If you haven't watched the SEC Championship one, watch that because it's really cool. And watching him go to the sideline and talk about that love for your teammates and how much love he got from his teammates, knowing all the stuff that he had been through to finally get – that was his first touchdown of the season, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that was really cool. One of the other things Kirby brought up in the post game, he was looking for Cole Spear, and he said, and I can't believe this stat. I didn't look it up to confirm it, but if he said it's probably true. He said, when a team blocks a punt in a game, they're going to win 85% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah. And Kirby's 17-0 when we block a kick.
He loves the SEC championship for blocking punts and kicks and everything else. You know, you think about we go games without anything happening, but it seems like every SEC championship, like we're blocking something.
Yep.
Chris Fowler was right on point.
Yep.
Calling the game.
That was wild.
As soon as he said it, the kid blocked the field goal, man. He went nuts.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Bert, was the special you're talking about the one where you heard a lot of players keep saying enough is enough? Did you notice that?
Yeah. Because a lot of guys were mic'd up before the game.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Right.
And then it showed Frazier kind of being the leader in the running back huddle, and he was saying, "Look, we got this second chance. We got to take advantage of it." It was that one, right?
Yeah, that was it. Was it.
That's a good one.
Speaking of peaking at the right time, Smoking Nate Frazier that guy is really developing into his own, isn't he?
Straight out of Compton, baby.
Yeah. Hey.
Tim identified him early on. He saw that twitch. He's got that twitch, doesn't he, Tim?
Yeah, he got that twitch. He knows how to get downhill too. So I love that. I love it for him because he actually redeemed himself against the team that he fumbled the ball against, and changed the momentum in that game 11 weeks ago. But he went through for the next 9 games where he was totally redeeming himself, and then he gets to come back and play the SEC championships against the Crimson Tide and have a great game, score another touchdown. I thought it was awesome, man.
Yeah,
it was.
He's a good kid too. I like his attitude.
Yep.
He was, and he is, and the way we're calling plays where we can get him outside, where all he's got to do is make that first guy miss. He's going to do it. He's going to do it 95% of the time. I mean, he's just got that twitch, make that guy miss, and he's upfield for 10 or 15 yards.
Yeah. Hey, Coach Lou, let me ask you a question. As I was watching the Dogs against the Crimson Tide last weekend in the SEC Championship, looking at the Bulldogs defense for a minute there, did you think for a minute there the defense, the consistency for 4 quarters reminded me of that 2021 defense for a minute because of just the negative yardage and the physicality of the game. I was wondering, what do you think of that when you saw it, Coach?
Well, if you look, I've watched a lot of football. If you think about the way the Georgia Bulldogs football team started the first of the year, you think about the Tennessee game, think about the Ole Miss game, think about this, that, and the other. The way this team has developed, the way they were flying to the ball on Saturday afternoon when I watched them with my own 2 eyes, looked like a totally different defense. People were all throwing in the towel on them, saying that they were not any good. They lost his Kirby's, lost his magic. The way he's coached this team, I was truly proud of. Even though I'm not a Georgia Bulldog, I felt like this is one of his best coaching jobs he's ever done.
Yeah. I felt like we outcoached them and we outplayed them.
Yep.
I felt like we were a step ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the inverse of what Kirby said happened in Sanford Stadium back in September. He said we got outplayed, and to my detriment, we were outcoached as well. So he took a little of the blame there. We came back strong on Saturday.
I'll tell you what, Tim, I wanted to ask you this because it's something we haven't seen maybe for the last season or two, and that's our O-line is actually opening up some holes for our running back. Because in the past, our running backs were running into a brick wall, which was the backs of their linemen. And now we're just giving these guys a crease. Like on that touchdown for Nate.
Yeah.
He had that crease, man, and he just blasted through it. And that's what we haven't had in the past 2 years.
Yeah. The offensive line they're confident. And that's what happens when you have a confident, strong, big offensive line. We got some big boys, and they can move to people. And if you notice, guys, we didn't lose the beat. Bobo was hurt. They brought in Tolliver. Is it Tolliver?
Yeah.
Okay, brought in Tolliver. They didn't lose the beat. Okay, and that's what happens when you're an offensive line and you establish the run immediately. It gives those guys confidence. Okay, and then you got the play action that can open up passing lanes for the tight ends and the wideouts. But those guys have been confident all year long, and you said it right, Maddawg. All year long, we've seen big gaps. I'm talking about the kind of gaps that open up back when we played. You know what I mean? And they
Right.
got the backs to get it, to carry it through, and to score. So big up to the Georgia offensive line, man.
Stacy Searles, the much maligned Stacy Searles, seems like he's finally catching his stride.
Yeah. I got mad respect for Coach Cyril Stacy, man. Stacy coached he blocked for Bo Jackson. A lot of people don't know that, but he blocked for Bo Jackson for 3 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Stacy, my freshman year and my sophomore year, Stacy Searles was a starting guard, man, for Auburn.
Yeah, and he coached at Auburn for a while, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And 25 days off, so we got Chauncey's got a chance to get fully healthy for our next game, and having that duo in the backfield, both of them being healthy, that we could have an exciting running game in the playoffs.
I mean, think about our running back room. It's Chauncey, it's Nate, it's Robinson, it's McCray, it's Phillips, and it's Cash, and that's off the top of my head. That's a six-pack right there, guys.
Hey,
That's a six-pack.
when you said it took me back to 1988. You know, you guys hear that noise?
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. But anyway, it took me back, man, to 1988 in the running back room, man. We would sit there and watch Sanford and Son sometimes. What is that noise, man?
I don't know. Coach Holtz, did you ever watch Sanford Son?
Well, let me tell you something about Sanford. You got Lamont Wilson. He's actually born in Valdosta. And if you watch Lamont, you didn't learn anything about playing football because Lamont was as soft as a pillow.
Well, you know that coach. That's my number one sitcom, Sanford and Son.
Well, I tell you, I think Bubba probably could have been a pretty decent guard. He probably could have blocked for you a little bit. Old ball Bubba there, but Fred's good friend. Of course, Grady was too drunk. He's too hungover and drunk to do much. Woodrow. I guess Grady wasn't that drunk. Maybe I was mistaking him for Woodrow, but you know, Aunt Esther looked like a pretty good rush in. Might wreak some havoc on some people.
You had Fred, you had Ready Freddie, you had Skillet, Bubba, Leroy, and who was the other one? Grady, Shady Grady.
Yeah, played by the incomparable Whitman Mayo. He died here about 10 years ago.
What was the lady that was on there that always had the crazy eyes?
That's Aunt Esther.
Esther.
Yeah.
Esther. You fit Esther called Fred a fish-eyed fool.
And Fred called her an old battle axe many times.
He said, Esther, I can take your face and put it in some dough and make some gorilla cookies.
Oh my gosh.
Man, that was funny. But Fred would have been a good coach, man. Fred was a motivator. He motivated Lamont every day, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Esther came in there one time, said that Fred was drinking. They were drinking and all this. And she said, the Lord said, thou shalt not overdrink wine or whatever. And Fred said, what'd you say about Ripple? And he kept drinking.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you do
You don't get drunk in the Lord's house. He said, Fred said, now I'm in my house. Yeah.
Coach, you do like to watch some other TV. What are some of the other sitcoms you like to watch?
Well, Sanford and Son is a classic. Fred Sanford, Fred Fox. He was a dear friend of mine, even though he had a kind of nasty mouth on stage. I still like. We got along well. He was a good guy, that man, Fred Fox. When he played the Sanford Son, he was kind of in his late 40s. So you think he was old, but now you look at your own age. You were older than he was when he was playing Fred Sanford. Kind of shocking.
Yeah. That is shocking.
And I've always talked about Vic Tayback. My good friend Vic Tayback. He was on our list. I've gone through all that with him, and I like that show pretty good.
Wait, Vic Tayback, when that show was on, I can't remember what you said. What age was he when he was on Alice?
He's about 42.
That's wild. That is wild.
They look old back then, didn't they? I think it was the cigarettes and the liquor.
It probably was.
Yeah.
My two favorite shows, man, to this day was Andy Griffith and Sanford and Son, man. I still watch Andy Griffith.
It's a classic.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Ernest T. Bass was my favorite character.
Hey. And Ernest T was only on like 5 episodes. And did you know that he also directed a lot of those episodes?
Yep. Yeah. Ernest T. Ernestine was funny, man.
Oh yeah.
How do you do, Mrs. Wiley?
I
Ernestine,
heard they like to throw a lot of rocks through some
he did,
windows.
didn't he?
Yeah.
Ernestine was something, boy.
I also like the band The Darlings when they were
Oh yeah,
on
yeah.
on Andy Griffith.
Of course, the head of the Darlings was the great Denver Powell, who you may have known him later from the Duke boys and
Dukes
Dukes
of
of
Hazzard,
Hazzard.
yeah.
He was the head of the Darlings.
And you guys know he wasn't that old either. He wasn't that
Really?
old when he passed.
Really?
Yeah.
What's his name in what was his name in real life?
Denver Powell.
Denver Powell?
Denver Powell. Uncle Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking him out on
Of course, he
ChatGPT.
also played on Grizzly Adams. His name was Mad Jack. He walked around with a mule. He hung out with Dan Haggerty and that giant bear every now and then in the woods. He showed up on many shows back in those days.
I watched the Dukes of Hazzard because of Daisy.
All right. Hey Tim. When Denver Powell, when the show premiered in 1979, he was 59 years old.
Wow. When did he pass? You see? Is it up there? He's probably in the 70s, right?
Let's see. ChatGPT says he died December 25th, 1997 at the age of 77.
Okay. So Dukes of Hazzard, their last show was what, 87?
Did it go that long?
Or maybe 85, 86? I think it was. I don't know.
I'm
I know.
checking.
Hey, listen. I know. Me and Bill Goldberg did a Dukes of Hazzard jump in Athens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you
I'll
told me
never
about that.
forget that, man.
7 seasons.
7 seasons. There you
Yep.
go.
Yep. Man, Friday night back in the day was Incredible Hulk, Dukes of Hazzard, and then your parents made you go to bed while they watched Dallas.
Man,
Yeah, that was a prime time lineup on Friday night back then. You did not miss that.
Tim, did y'all watch Dallas when you were at Georgia?
Man, I watch Alice all the time.
Not Alice, Dallas.
I watch Dallas. I love
Yeah.
JR.
Yeah.
Patrick Duffy and all them, man. I love that show. Who shot
Victoria.
JR?
Victoria Principal is from Middle Georgia.
She's gorgeous. Who
Yeah.
shot JR?
Yep.
You remember Patrick Duffy? He was the man from Atlantis. And
Yeah.
he's swimming in the water. But still, guys, none of them top the $6 million man.
Of course not. We're still working on your highlight reel.
Okay. I saw the video where he pulled that arm off Sasquatch.
I still can't believe that. That was the acting and the special effects
Yeah.
were very challenged back then.
And listen, but back then it worked. That was some good stuff, man. I used to run out of the house and just go.
He ran in slow motion, but that was supposed to represent him running fast.
Yeah.
That's
And
the irony.
every once in a while, they'll show him hit top speed at 60 miles an hour, and they speed up the film. I try to do it. That's good stuff, man.
Coach Holtz, did you watch the $6 million man?
No, I was too busy coaching football. Missed that one.
So the Bionic Woman never caught your eye?
Played by Lindsey Wagner. No, I didn't. I didn't watch that one either.
But you knew who she was.
Well, she used to sell mattresses late night on some of these shows I watched back in the day. Mattress or something. Then she wagged. They said she was a bionic woman, so I'm getting attacked by a cat right now.
That bionic ear always drove her crazy, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is very appropriate because I think all women have bionic ears.
Mm-hmm. Of course,
Yeah.
unless you're talking to them, they're not going to hear you. But the minute you say something you don't want them to hear, well, they heard.
That's right. That's exactly right. Bert, how is Jenny taking that tough loss to Duke?
Oh man. Well, let me put on my Who's hat for a second and talk about that. So, if you watched any of that game, like Virginia did everything that they could to lose that game. That Duke had their 2 touchdown drives in the first half were both when they had their punt team on the field at some point. And the first time the punt team was on, it was 4th and 7. Virginia had an offsides on a 4th and 7. They got it to 4th and 2. They went for it, and then they scored. The next time they had to punt, they faked a punt, got the first down, and scored another touchdown. So Duke scored 20 points in the game. 2 of those touchdowns were off of those 4th down conversions. Virginia came back late. They scored 10 points in the last 3 minutes of the game and had all the momentum. And it almost felt like it was one of those scenarios where you've got so much momentum. They drove 96 yards in a little over a minute. Go for 2 there. Like, I'm sure they thought about it. Go for 2 and just go ahead and, end the game right there. But they went into overtime. Duke scored immediately. They got a penalty on the play that Duke scored on. And so I've never seen this, but Virginia got backed up to the 40-yard line to start their drive instead of the 25. And they threw an intercept. They tried a trick play, threw an interception, and it was ball game.
So when they backed them up to the 40, did they make it 1st and 25?
It was 1st and 10, but it was from the 40-yard line.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, they tried a trick play. And that gunslinger Chandler Morris threw an interception into double coverage, and it was over. And the Duke crowd of 5,000 people went wild.
5,000 people. And then Manny Diaz started his campaign to get 8-5 Duke into the playoffs.
It was brilliant. Don't you love seeing all those teams lobbying to get their team into the playoffs? You know, it's like we are playing football right now that should merit us getting into the playoffs. Like, conveniently forgetting that they lost to Connecticut and whoever else they lost to during the regular season.
Yeah, and they got their facts ready. You know, he's like, yeah, we've got 5 power forward victories. You know, how many does they have? None.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, really, Duke would probably do better than James Madison in a playoff game.
They could. They got a elusive quarterback. They'd give Oregon a better run than JMU is, but 5 losses isn't going to get you there. I was walking into that stadium, and the last time I was at that stadium was before the 2021 Georgia Clemson game at the beginning of that season. And we were tailgating before the game. My Jenny's older sister is really good friends with Mary Delp, who is Oscar's mom. And so we were hanging out with Oscar before the game, and this was when he was in high school. And he was down to Georgia and South Carolina because his mom went to South Carolina, and they were really pushing hard for him to go there. So I was trying to sell Georgia on him. He didn't even know about Brock Bowers yet because that was Brock's first game, that 21 Clemson game.
Oh, wow.
But they were all about Darnell Washington and how long Darnell was going to stay at Georgia, not even knowing, he had Brock in front of him. But I think for Oscar, it worked out perfect. He came to Georgia. He just put his 3rd SEC championship ring on his finger Saturday. he got to play behind possibly the greatest tight end in college football history. And now he could be playing for his second national championship. So it worked out for him.
Oh, it definitely worked out for him. There's no question. I mean, he's part of that legacy. If you can make a case that we're tight end you. With all the guys we put in the league, man, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
We got four of the best tight ends in the country, man.
Yeah, like if you're the starting tight end for Georgia or one of the two, you're going to get drafted every year. I mean, look how many tight ends we put in the NFL. And then look at the guys behind Oscar and Lawson Lucky at Georgia who are going to be coming up in the next few years.
Yep. We need Lawson Lucky to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will.
Yeah, I know. They were showing him and Oscar like right with each other in the draft. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, we got the young guys, but it sure would be nice to get Lucky back.
Well, maybe we can spread around some of that Jared Curtis money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish we could spread about $10 million to Zachariah Branch and get him back for one more year.
Well, I went down the rabbit hole on that as far, what a receiver is going to make late first round, which is what he's projected, to mid second, and we could pony up enough money to give him a compelling reason to come back. I mean, because if he's going to be, early second round, pay him early second round money so that he can come back and then turn into, maybe late first round or mid first round. I mean, a case can easily be made. Come back and play with your brother.
Man, how awesome would that be?
It'd be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
He's a difference maker.
100%.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
I think he gave us 3 wins we wouldn't have without him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When he changed directions on that touchdown he had Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
you see how quick he went from 0 to 60?
Yeah. Crazy speed.
Yeah.
I mean, when he accelerates, he just leaves people behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we are now into our second hour, so we should probably wrap this up. Coach, do you have anything, any words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with?
As I said earlier tonight, the thing that disappoints me is the way Notre Dame handled this situation. Though I believe they should have been in the playoff, they're not in the playoff now. Don't like the way they did it. My good friend J.R. Richardson called me. He said that he compared him to Randolph and Duke Mortimer, or Randolph and Mortimer Duke of trading places. When they messed up and lost out on the orange market, they got kicked out of their seat on the New York Stock Exchange. And Mortimer was screaming, "Turn the machines back on. We've been here forever. Turn the machines back on. Turn them," just like Notre Dame's been crying all week. Thought that was a good thing. The last thing I'll say is, when you grow up mentally slow like me, when you get dementia, nobody notices. So that's a bonus. And I can't wait to see you next year. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for carving out time for your first time to join us. Always a pleasure.
Almost time for Rawhide to start. Ended perfect.